Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Schooland. I'm an account manager here at Populi. Maybe you already know me, maybe not. I don't know. You might, if you're already a client, then either I'm your account manager or maybe Nick Holloway. So those might be the folks you're familiar with. Also, of course, if you ever call into our support team, we've got a bunch of frontline folks who help out with that, who probably hear their voices more often. We, of course, have it staggered just so that we've always got someone ready to help you. So hopefully you're getting to know us and reaching out to us and kind of being a part of the Populi family. As I begin, I want to let you know that the easiest way for me to process questions is through the little Q&A box. I've got my little Q&A thing set up over here on my opposite screen so that I can see anything that comes through and I can easily check off the questions that have been asked. It's a little harder for me to keep up with the chat. So usually people don't even put anything there. They just put anything on the Q&A. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'll try and answer questions throughout. We'll see how that goes. And if not, I'll just save them to the end. That can work too. It just depends on how the questions feed in. And we want to make sure we don't get too derailed. But I'm totally fine with you typing in the question right away so that you don't forget it. I totally get how that works. That happens to me too. So if you want to make sure you don't forget your question, just type it in right away and hit enter. And if I don't get to it right away, it's not because I think it's a bad question. It's just because I'm in the middle of delivering this, and we'll get to it as soon as I can. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see what we're looking at. Very good. You should see a login page that says your college could be here. And let's begin. I'll go ahead and log in. I'm going to log in as someone who has lots of access, but we are going to drill down just into really one course. So if you're a faculty, you're probably not going to see as much as I'm seeing right now. Your alerts will be just a few and more manageable. You won't see financial. You won't see academics or admissions or any of these other things. You'll just drill down into your own personal course. Before we drill in on that, I want to let you know, how do you get help? Some people are here because this is just how they thought was the only way to get help. And so I hope that's not you. I hope you know that there's lots and lots of ways to get help. And we do want to help you as best we can. We want our support to be the absolute best there is. And so if you need help, then click help up here in the top right. If you're the type who likes to research on your own, you can click search the knowledge base. If you want to reach out to our support team, all faculty and staff have access to both phone and email support. Our hours are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And you can open a support request here. It's pretty much like an email if you do it here. If you want to call us to do the phone support, I'll show you where to find our number, but you can just memorize it real quick. It's 877, the number 4, and the word Populi, 8774 Populi. If you have a request open, you've asked us a question and you want to know the status of that question, you can view your requests here. We will also be emailing you every time we update it. If you have an idea for a feature request, you can go here. If you want to interact with our other clients and see how they do things, you can go to our user forum. Let me dig into search the knowledge base real quick. Today, we're focused on what we call courses. It's Populi's LMS and our online learning tool. And so if you want to dig in here, you definitely can. Lots of information here, including just a bunch of articles on getting started with your Populi courses. And then some that really drill in on a bunch of, here we got 16 articles for tests, 9 articles for assignments. So lots of information here. 2 more ways that I want to tell you about getting help. One is you can go to our Populi YouTube channel. Just search for Populi, find our logo. You'll see interviews, little short feature videos, live training events like this one, tips and tricks. You can drill in by playlist. You can drill in by just videos overall and watch those and have some fun with that. And the final way is you can reach out to me if I'm your account manager, or Nick if he's your account manager, and schedule a webinar. So you can do the phone and email support with our support team. That's great if you just have a quick question, and they can see your instance of Populi, so they can see exactly what you're talking about and walk you through it. If you want to do the webinar thing because it's kind of hard for you to think how to formulate a good question, you just sort of want to dive in and see an overview and have us share screens, then you can reach out to Nick Holloway or myself, depending on who your account manager is. If you don't know which one's your account manager, you can reach out to your main staff there or ask our support team. All right, that's a quick overview on how to find help. So let's jump into courses. If I was a faculty, I could see my courses page. I'd also be able to, hopefully I wouldn't have a bunch of undone to-dos, but I'd have my list of courses right here on the home page. And I can also go to my own profile and click on my faculty tab and see courses for a particular term here. I'm going to do some old data in an old course. So if it looks old, it is old. So hopefully you can excuse that. And I'm going to do a quick overview of how our LMS works, what it's all about. And then I'm going to drill down into very specific, how do I set this up? So let me tell you a story, a history. Back in the day when schools first started using software to track their student information, there wasn't any online learning. There wasn't any web-based stuff out yet. It was just a software program you had on your computer, or maybe you had it even connected with a server, and it was called a student information system, and that was it. Then when online learning came along and the web-based thing happened, instead of beefing up the existing software and making it all work together like we all hoped it would, it started a whole new industry called the LMS, the Learner Management System. And there, now forever, we're trying to make those two talk to each other so that our transcripts work properly. Populi has been web-based and fully hosted since the very beginning. That was our model when we first started out. I think we were the first ones to really start that model in this industry, and we've been enjoying it ever since. And we decided, you know what, why not just do what we think should have been done in the first place, build the LMS into the SIS, make it all seamless, make it all work so that we don't have to worry about all these integrations and connections. So we did that, and we decided, wait a sec, we shouldn't have an LMS section in Populi as opposed to our SIS section, because then we have the same problem. They're just two different sections and we're trying to make them communicate. So what we did instead is at the course level, every single course has all the LMS online learning features built in, and you just decide if you want to use them or not. So it could be an on-campus course where you use 0 of the extra features. You just put in some assignments, build a grade book, and enter some grades, and it goes to the transcript. Or it could be a full-blown online course where you're using all the settings, every single one you can. Or it could be some hybrid. It's an on-campus course, but you don't like to do quizzes during lecture time, so you do all those online, and that's really all you use. Or maybe you record your lectures and put those online, or you just like to post things that will help students, and you can make it whatever you need to facilitate the students' learning. So hopefully it makes it so that we just kind of get out of your way and let you teach your students as best you can. Now, I just want to end with one quick example, and that is, we all know that back in the spring, a lot of schools were forced to switch to classes online. And there were some schools who had never thought about going online before. They didn't have anything set up, but they were Populi users. And they had their students log in, register for courses, they'd go to their courses and see their grades and things like that, but that was it. Well, once they had to go online, because we didn't do this separate section LMS thing, no school had to redesign their course catalog and now set up all these online courses somewhere else. All they had to do was take the existing course that student was already used to going and checking their grades, and then start building out lessons and discussions and tests and file assignment uploads and stuff like that for the rest of the term. And so it was a very smooth transition. So that's the logic, the philosophy behind what we're trying to do and why we're doing it the way we're doing it. Okay, let me give you a quick overview of some of the features themselves, then we'll go into setup. First off, we've got our dashboard. Here I have some quick links to either email or text my students. We also have a bulletin board that I can post things on as faculty, and students can post things on as faculty, and everyone who's in this course can see it. You can use it as just a place to post news. You can use it as a kind of a water cooler where people can interact. They can comment on each other's posts. They can like each other's posts, and so on. If you want it just to be a place for news for yourself, you can disable student bulletin board posts so that you're the only one who can post. That way your pieces of news don't kind of fall down and get buried below. Once you have all your settings in, then Populi will bring those settings forward all in one place called our syllabus page. So for example, your registrar is going to give you a course number, a term, the dates for this course, how many units are in this course, some meeting times. They're going to associate faculty with this course. And all that's going to be put here. You can edit and make required or recommended supplies. You can put links in here, reading lists, and even upload files. And these files that you upload, they can be viewed in the Populi interface. They don't have to be downloaded. So a student can see this syllabus file. Obviously, this is all Latin and pretend, but they can see this syllabus file without having to download it. You as faculty can set up your description. There is a default description that probably the registrar would put in, but you can modify it in your settings if you want. And then when you set up your assignments, the high-level assignment groups with different weights will show here too. Finally, if you want, you can add some content for a syllabus. You could copy and paste all your syllabus content here. Or if you want, you could upload a file, whether it's a PDF or a video. I know faculty are sometimes doing kind of video syllabus these days. And maybe you want your written one here, and this would be your video one. Next up, we're going to go to assignments. This is where I'm going to set up the structure for how students are going to get graded. First, I'm going to start with assignment groups, and then those groups will contain specific assignments. So for example, quizzes is worth 25% of the course, and it drops the lowest assignment. And so I've got here 5 quizzes, all in my quizzes group. I could add 5 more or 10 more, and it will still always be worth 25% of the course. Lessons. Lessons are like a container so that you can put assignments in here, discussions in here, videos, tests, all those kinds of things. You can name them whatever you want. I've got week 1, 2, 3, and 4, but they don't even have to have a number with them, and you can organize them however you want in whatever order. You can just hit reorder and move them in whatever order you want. So they don't have to be a number order or alphabet order. Just move them around how you want. And so I could have first lesson just be called biology, second lesson called chemistry, or whatever I want. As I add the lesson, I just give it a name, a date and time for when I want it to be available. So that way, maybe I don't want students to study ahead. I just want them to study as each week opens up. Or I could say, I just want to open after the previous lesson is completed so that they can study ahead as they complete each lesson. Here's what a lesson looks like. I can embed other things from other files. So here I'm embedding something from Scribd. I could also embed YouTube, Vimeo, Spotify, Google Docs, quite a few different things. I can upload video. Here's where I embedded a YouTube video. So I just mentioned that. Here's where I actually uploaded my own video. If you upload your own video, Populi has some extra features like what percentage of the students have completed this required section and whether or not it's required. So we can actually track which students have been watching this video and how much of the video they've watched. Step 3, I can do rich text, bold, italics, all that normal stuff, sorted or unsorted lists, hyperlinks, even to the point of special characters, Greek, Korean, whatever you need. Step 4, I can link a discussion in here. Step 5, I can link a quiz in here. Let's take a look at a discussion. Discussions just have a topic up at the top, maybe a question. Students that answer those questions in a comment, I can grade those comments. And they can also reply to each other. Here's Simon replying to himself. So hopefully you've got other students replying to each other, not the same student replying to themselves. And I can grade those too. And if it's the course requires a video or audio component, like maybe it's a music course and they need to record themselves playing the guitar and then comment on each other and give each other feedback, they can do their own videos here and upload those, and students can watch each other's videos. One handy feature, lots of features here, but one handy feature is called post first. This requires the student to answer the question and post something before they can read any of the other students' posts. So hopefully that makes their answers just a little more original. If we go back to that lesson, we also saw there was a quiz. So let's go to that quiz. This is what a test looks like. There are 7 different question types. Matching, so here I'm matching the buildings with their architects. Multiple choice, check all that apply, essay, put in order. Hopefully we all have good internet and you can see, there's no lag and you can see me moving these things around. And so they can put in a certain order. True or false, and then short answer. There's a blank here and I can put in architecture is the art and planning. Notice how any one of these individual questions, I can put an image, I could put an audio file, I could put a video, I could put a PDF to help answer that one question. All right, let me fly over some of the rest of these things here. We have a calendar. Calendars show all the meeting times if you're doing an on-campus course. And so you as faculty, even though you don't put in the standard meeting times, you can cancel meetings if you want. And you can even add new meetings if you want. So here I cancel this one, add a new meeting here just by double clicking and giving it some information. I can see a roster of my students. As faculty, I can't really do much to change their status, except I can change them to incomplete if I want. And I can also add some notes on their file as the term moves on. I can see my grade book. I can take attendance for my on-campus courses by clicking take attendance for one of the meeting times. I've got some quick links for what I can do. I can leave notes. I can also do one-by-one attendance taking. If it's online, then we have a special thing called online attendance, and this will be set up by your registrar. But what this will do, see if we can find here we go. Anytime a student does something significant, like completes an assignment, Populi will just show a record of it so that you are recording the student's participation. And if I click on this, then I can see how many students actually participated, and I can see the detail here. So I could see they spent some minutes on a discussion post, and they also did a test. I can zoom in on that discussion post, it's this one, or I could zoom in on that test and see their actual answers. We have some reporting tools, who's getting different grades, different performance dashboard, time tracking, who's spending what kind of time in Populi. Simon on this date spent 2 minutes in lessons. We also have a change log and it records the date and time any change has been made, who made that change, so that you can go in and see what's going on there. We have a chat room. Right now, my current chat that's open is called Office Hours. Anyone who jumps in here, Populi will record it. Will show me who's in here right now. I can reach out to the group. I can end this chat session. And if I do that, then Populi will save the transcripts right here. And I can schedule a new one. All right, so those, one last thing, we'll get to this in the end, but you can also set up conferences. So you can integrate Populi with either Big Blue Button or Zoom to do live video streaming. Okay, so that's some high level stuff of where we want to go. So how do we get there? First off, when you first arrive at a course, you're going to want to check out the settings. So when I first am given this course as faculty by my registrar, I'm going to go all the way down to settings and I'm going to look and see some of the things that I can change as a faculty. As faculty, you really can only do a couple things. I can change my description by clicking on description and edit that. Everything else here is going to be governed by the registrar, but I could also sync this course. So if I have 2 sections open for this course, I could sync them. What that means is that If I change something on one of the sections, it'll automatically change it on the other. And there's some high level stuff. So not everything will be changed, obviously, because I'm not going to match up enrollment because I want the enrollment to be separate. It's two different sections. But if I change my assignment, if I add an assignment to one section, it will add it to the other. So I can do that so I'm not doing double work all the time. If you're going to use sync, you want to do it before you enter any grades, or else it will delete those grades. You can also clone from another course. This is the very first thing you want to do when you're setting up your course, because you don't want to enter stuff in and then clone it, because the clone will erase whatever you entered. So instead, clone from another course, and I can choose assignments, files, lessons, links, reading lists, rubrics, supplies, syllabus information, tests, all of it, none of it, a few things, whatever. And I just choose which course I want to sync it with. I can also choose from a different catalog course. As a faculty, I can access that, the other courses I've taught. If I'm registrar, I have access to a lot more courses, of course. But this is fall 2013, so let's say I'm just going to copy it from fall 2012, and then I would hit save and go. Or if this is your very first time using Populi and you don't have any of those previous courses to clone from, you can import a common cartridge. Common cartridge is sort of the universal format among all LMS systems. So it helps you move content from one LMS to another. Now, common cartridge, I said, is supposed to be universal, but it isn't always. So different systems will end up making kind of slightly different common cartridges. So if you come in here and you import it and it doesn't work and that content doesn't come over for some reason, reach out to our support team. We'll get our developers on it and make sure that it works as best we can. All right. There's some features I'm skipping over, but that is step one. Look at your settings. Make sure you like the description. Clone from another course. Sync it to another section if you've got multiple sections, or if you're starting from the beginning, use common cartridge. Step two, we want to make sure our assignments are all set up. I already have some of these for you to look at, but if this was blank, then I would hit edit, groups, and assignments. And let's say there was nothing here. It was all blank, and then I would just put in the name, put in the weight as a percentage. Populi will show me how much I have left. I've used it all up. It's all 100, so I'm good to go. There's 0 left. I can make that entire group worth extra credit. If I do that, notice how Populi has now another 15% left because it's turned this into extra credit. I can also drop the lowest assignment, or the lowest 2, or the lowest 3. So I've done that here with my quizzes. No matter if I get 20 quizzes, it will drop the lowest to help the students grade a little bit. Once I've done that, then I can add assignments. I can also add another assignment group. Right now, I don't want to do that because I've used up my 100%, but I could do that here and bring it in. My only option would be to do extra credit. I can also add an assignment, give it a name, give it a description, and let's walk through the different types of assignments we have. The first one is grade only. Grade only means no bells and whistles. This is just like grading on paper. It's just a place to put a number. There's no extra features that go with it. It's just you need a place to put a number. So for example, let's say you want them to actually physically hand you a paper, or you're doing an in-class exam and they turn that exam in by hand and you're grading it all outside of Populi and you just want a place to put that in that grade when you're done, then this is all you need, grade only. File is also, all the rest of these are graded too, but file requires the student to upload something. And this could be a paper, it could be a video, depending on what the course requires, but you let them know, and then Populi will keep track of whether or not they've actually uploaded it. And then you can, in Populi, view that upload and grade it. We'll take a look at that in just a sec. Peer review file is the same thing as file, except it opens it up so that students can see each other's files and they can comment on each other's files and assignment uploads and even kind of grade them. So maybe part of someone's grade is not just the file they upload, but how they can interact with other students. I've seen some folks do this at the undergrad level, but I've seen it more happen at like the master's level. Tests. This would be quiz, exams, any online test that you want Populi to do. Attendance. All attendance does is it matches, it's just this helpful kind of grading tool. So it matches the grade of their current attendance percentage to this assignment. So if they had 80% on their attendance, then this assignment would automatically get an 80% and factor into the rest of their grade. Discussion. This is so you can grade their comments and replies in discussions. Essay is just like file, except instead of requiring them to upload a file, they can just type out the whole essay in Populi. And peer review essay is just like peer review file, except instead of reviewing someone else's file upload, they're reviewing someone else's handwritten essay. Let's zoom in on tests because it's got quite a few extra features that I'd like to go over. With tests, we can do how you want points to be calculated. So here I can give a fixed amount of points to the test. I can weight questions equally, or just put in a number on each question as I fill it out, and then Populi will give you the total at the end for you. Most people do the fixed points, so that means I would say I want it to be worth 10 points, maybe if it's a quiz, or 100 points if it's an exam. Is this extra credit or not? So we can do extra credit at the group level. We can also do extra credit at the individual assignment level. Tie this to a group. If this is going to be a test, I'll put it under my exams group. Published, yes or no. This just means that maybe right now we're just setting up the template for the test so that we can start filling out all the questions. So maybe we don't want to publish it quite yet because we don't want students to be confused as they see this kind of empty test sitting out there. I can give it a due date. I can decide when it's available. I can make it always available. This means it will be available for the start date of the course to the end date of the course. I can make it available from. This means I can do it between 2 date ranges. Maybe I'll just make the 2 date ranges within 1 week of the course because I want them to do it within that particular week. Maybe it's just after a certain date. So on a certain date, the test opens up and they can take it all the way up until the end of the course. Or maybe it's until a certain date. This means that it opens up immediately at the beginning of the course, and then it stops at the date I put in. I can also decide if I want this visible to students before it's available. I can give it a time limit. We give you a bunch of suggestions here, and if those don't work, then you can choose other and put in your own time limit. Retake policy. And you don't have to allow retakes. Right now I'm allowing 0, but let's say I said 2 retakes. That means they take it once and they retake it twice for a total of 3 times. And I can say keep the highest score, keep the most recent score, or just average them. And finally, we got some extra special features. Require proctoring. Proctoring means that someone will have to be standing over the student. And when they start the test, then Populi will first, before it shows the student the test, it will show up a proctoring window where the proctor will have to put in their contact info, and then they will get a text message on their phone with a code. They'll have to put in that code, and that will start the test. And then at the end of the test, that will have to happen again so that the proctor can finish the test for them with another code. So that kind of code means that unless the student stole the proctor's phone, we can assume that the proctor was there at the beginning, at the end of that test. Require password. This is more for like, if you want it to open up at a very specific time and you're not sure when that time is. Let's say, or you only want certain students to be able to see it. I think the best example of when you might use this is for an on-campus quiz. Everyone's got their laptops in front of them and you say, okay, everybody, we're getting ready to start our quiz and I'm going to give you the password. And all of you will then be able to start the quiz as soon as you have that password. Finally, filter IP addresses. An IP address is a location, a certain network. So if you want it so that they can only take the test on campus, then you could filter down to that IP address. Or certain locations, you can filter down to those IP addresses. Don't worry about some of these features if you don't care about them. Don't get bogged down in the details. Some people like them, some people don't. If it didn't even occur to you that you would need it, then you probably don't need it. but I know some people have those questions in their head of being able to do stuff like that. So those are all the assignment types. Now, once I've got those assignments created, I can then continue to build on them. Let's, for now, go into a test. Because we already set up kind of how the test works. And once I set that up, it's going to show up here. So notice how on the test page, there is no add test button. In fact, we give you a little text here that says, want to add a test? Well, you got to go to assignments tab and create new test type assignment. So I've got to go back to assignments here, add an assignment, and then create a test type, fill it all out, hit save. Once I do that, it'll show up on my test list. Then I can click on that. I can edit some of that information. The availability doesn't require password, time limit, all that stuff. I can even add exceptions. Maybe there's a certain student who gets a little bit longer time, 15 minutes instead of 10. Or retake exceptions or availability exceptions or due date exceptions. I can add exceptions for all those things. And then I can start building it. There are 3 different things I can do. I can add a question, I can add a heading, or I can add text. A heading is just similar to this, week 1 quiz. It's just bold letters up at the top of the page. I could add text. And this is similar to the week 1 quiz, except it's just a little bit smaller. It's like a subheading. Or I could add a question. I already showed you the 7 different question types. So you choose which one you want to create. You type in the question here. And then you type in your answers. Blue, red, orange, or green. And then I choose which one is correct by hitting this little button here. Populi will default to 100% credit on the correct one. And if you want, you can give them a little bit of credit for one that's not correct. I can have it be randomized. That means that if the student has retakes or different students taking this test, every single time it gets pulled up, those answers are going to be in a different order. And I could put it in a certain category. So I could say this is a week 1 question, or maybe it's a week 2 question. Give the points for this test. Right now I've already used up all my points, so I've got a 0 here, but I could make it an extra credit if I wanted. And you can do that for any of these questions. I can also, instead of creating a brand new question, I can modify an existing question. And the way I do that is I first have to search for the question, and Populi will help me by putting up all these suggestions. And then from here, I'll click continue, and Populi will show me that question, and then I can modify it. No, this is a short answer question, by the way. And notice how Populi will auto grade all the questions, even including the short answer ones, as long as you give it some clues on how to grade. So for the short answer one, architecture is the art and blank of designing, erecting buildings and other physical structures. I've got 3 answers here. Science, 100%, if they enter that in. And remember, they've got to type this in. This is a short answer. This is not multiple choice. If they type in technology, they'll get 50% credit. If they type in planning, they'll get 0. And I can put in as many of these as I want. I can even make it case sensitive if I want. If they misspell science or technology or put something else in that I didn't anticipate, Populi will shoot it over to my to be graded holding tank, and I'll have to grade it there. But otherwise, Populi will be able to grade it for you. All other question types, Populi will grade for you, except for essay question, of course, because they're typing out some big long essay, and that requires a teacher to look over. I can also import an existing question. So I'm not modifying it. I'm actually just taking that question and bringing it straight over. And I just hit save. Or I can add a group of questions from a category. I told you how when I create a new question, I can add it. I can give it a category. Well, if I've done that for all my questions, then I can just bring in some group of questions from a certain category. So I can say, I want to bring in category week 1, and I want to bring in 5 questions from that category. And maybe there's 10 questions there, so it will bring in 5 questions at random from that category. That's actually what I did up here, 7 questions from category week 1. So it's just bringing those in at random for a total of 20 points. Once I have everything set up, I can hit preview, see what it looks like. I can see history. This just shows all the students who have taken it. And if I click on, first off, I get some basic information, how long it took, what their grade was, what the availability time was, and the IP address they took it from. That'll help you with cheating if the IP address is in some country that you know they are not. Then you could drill in on that. Maybe they hired someone from a different country to take their test. And if I click on the start time, I can see the specific test, all the answers they gave. I can add a comment. Populi's already auto-graded it, but I can edit the grade if I want. I can add some overall comments and then hit post. And that will just be a comment that the student will be able to log in and see, or I can just make an internal comment. Same here, for each individual question, I can add comments that the student can see. And then the final thing I can do for my quizzes, any tests, is an analysis. So here I can see all the different responses. So here we have, nobody got this one right. And so I can go in and edit that question if I want, because people aren't getting it for some reason. And some of these, everybody's getting them right. All right, next up, when I add my assignment for discussions, I can grade those. It'll have a grade discussion section because I add it on the assignment page, and I can make certain requirements so that will help me auto grade. So here I've got average comment grade is 15. So as I grade each one of these, then it will average it out to 15 points. Average reply grade is 15. As I grade each one of their replies, it will average it out to 15. As long as they comment at least twice, they'll get an automatic 10 points. As long as they reply at least twice, they get an automatic 10 points. And I can make as many of these requirements as I want, even down to number of words. So total words is at least a certain number, or total reply words is at least a certain number, or total comment words, or even characters if I want to go that route. All right, as we bring those together, let's go to lessons. So I already showed you lessons, but I just showed you the view page. Here's the design side. So here I can put text at the top, and then here I'm linking away to something I'm embedding. Here I'm just putting in some text, watch the videos below. And then I'm embedding a YouTube video here just by linking away to that YouTube video. Here I'm doing another video, except this time I uploaded it. And rich text and so on. So at the bottom, I can add a heading, add content, add an assignment like a quiz. So it will tie in and link to that quiz so they can complete it. Add a discussion, so that will link to the discussion. Add a file, that could be any file, including that video I uploaded, or add a link just to help them find a web page or something. I can split this out into a certain number of pages and put these on different pages. Or I can keep it all in one like I did here. One thing I wanted to note, let's see, we talked about bringing the syllabus together, lessons, discussions, tests, assignments. Let's talk about one more thing, and then we'll go into grading and how to grade. And the thing I want to go into is conferences. So I'm showing you this just in case you're an account administrator. Faculty don't have access to this, but if you want to integrate your Populi with Zoom or Big Blue Button, then there's a special spot in your account settings that only the 1 or 2 account administrators have access to, and they'll put in the special key and secret and token. and then they'll be able to make it work across all of Populi, and it will automatically move over. Same with Big Blue Button if you're using that. And once that's set up, then you'll get a new little button here called Conferences. So here I don't have it here, but I do have it in this picture, Conferences. So I don't have it set up on my end. Let's go ahead and open this in a new tab so we can really zoom in on it. And up at the top, I can add a new conference. We can see the ones that are in progress, that are scheduled, and that are concluded, and even the recordings for the ones that are concluded. If I hit add a conference, Populi will give me some information. Zoom might be the provider. This is if I've integrated with both Zoom and Big Blue Button, then I can bounce back and forth between the two. But let's pretend you're just Zoom. We could do that. Who's the host? This is based on your Zoom information. Name, give it a name, give it a description. Start time, if you want, that can be optional. Time limit, if you want, that can be optional. Password, if you want, to keep other people from jumping on your Zoom meeting. And then who's allowed to participate. And by default, you can do all students, but you could limit it if you want. Okay, now that we've got all these basic things and how to set them up, let's drill in on how to grade. So from my assignments page, I can click on the names of any one of these assignments. So let's click on class project, which by the way, this is a file type assignment. So it requires the students to upload a file. And I can go here, hit enter grades, and just start typing in grades. Or if I've set up rubrics or my registrar has set up rubrics tied to this assignment, then I can grade it using a rubric, either by clicking certain boxes or by typing in a number, and Populi will highlight the box that makes sense. Or if I click these again, it will take it back to those numbers. It takes it to if you just click on it, it uses the highest number of that range, but you can get more specific if you want, and even add comments and then save that score. I can also click on the student's name from here and see what their file was that they uploaded. And I can annotate that, highlight it, and write things in there. Good paragraph, Simon. And then just like all assignments, remember I showed you this on the quiz too, we can comment back and forth. If I check this box, it becomes an internal comment. So down here it's yellow. That means I just did an internal comment for myself. But I can also do one so that Simon can see it. And I can even enter grades from this page or bounce around to other students from this page. That's the typical workflow, how most people will be grading students. But if you want, you can go to the grade book and you can see all your students, all your assignments, and click this little scroll bar to see them all. And I can hit edit grades and just start entering them all. At the end of the course, once I've entered all the grades, the term is now over and we are all done. Then I'm going to finalize the course as faculty. Notice how there is no lock up here. Populi will warn me if I have some unentered grades. And if they're just blank, then these assignments will be excused. So they won't actually be counted toward the grade. If I go back to the grade book and I hit edit grades, I've got a little handy fill empty grades with zeros. And then I will hit save grades and it will do that for me. That means it won't be excused. It will actually all count as zeros. Either way, Populi is going to warn me if something like that happens. I can then say, yeah, I finished Brian, finished Teresa, good to go. I'll just submit those. Or I can say, no, I've finished everybody. I'm ready to finalize the entire course. Here we go. Hit submit. And by hitting submit, I acknowledge the above information for the selected students is complete and accurate. Now there's locks everywhere. I, as faculty, am not allowed to change anything. The only thing I can change is if I go to the roster and I mark someone incomplete before, I can now mark them complete, enter their grades, mark them complete, and then they'll be out of my hands. Now, what if a student contests a grade? Well, you're going to have to send that student to the registrar or talk to the registrar yourself or to the academic admin. And those people have higher level access than you, and they can go in and manage finalization. Remember I said going into this, I've got a lot more access than just faculty. So I can actually manage finalization. I can say, oh, Brian's contesting a grade. He's right. I put that in wrong. Hit submit, and then I can change it on Brian and then come back and then finalize it again and hit submit again. And I'm going to go ahead and uncheck everybody and unlock it for the next time I show people this. Once a course is finalized, all those grades get pushed to the transcripts and your job is done as a faculty. And we do this just so that it's taken out of the faculty's hands so that you just know you're done and that the grades are moved on and we're now looking to next term. All right, looks like we are done. If you're typing away at a question, you're trying to squeeze it in because you hear I'm saying that we're done, then I'll ramble just a tiny bit longer for you to finish that question so that we can make sure and get it. But in short, as I'm wrapping up, if you have any questions, remember how I told you how to get help. Reach out to our support team. We love to hear from you. If it goes beyond just a one-off question, reach out to our account managers and they'll be able to schedule a training webinar with you one-on-one. Or of course, if you want to see our old training webinars that were recorded like this, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can dig around our help system. Lots of places to get help. Don't be shy. We'd love to hear from you. All right. Well, take care, everybody. Hope this helps and I enjoyed being with you. We'll see you later.